All right, welcome everyone back to the Financial Summit YouTube channel. We are back for our usual deep dive into charts with Mark Wood. We're going to cover a lot of stuff going into the election and how the elections matter because we only have 1 week for that. And there wasn't the need to do two shows. So Matt McGregor is joining us for the show to give us an update on Bang Box, Black Box, and all of his positions as well. Nice sweatshirt, brother. And nice hair and
Thank you.
beard. Look at you.
Look at me. It's all coming up, Matt. Boys, how are you going?
I know you're looking like a lumberjack there in Japan for the winter.
I'm Australian, man. I'm only 1 degree separation from the lumberjack.
Nice sweatshirt, brother, and nice hair and beard.
Who's got the repeat on? Who's guilty?
Not me.
It's not. I think mine was just open for a second, but it's off now.
Okay,
All right.
I don't think that was me this time. All right.
That's
All right, I don't think I gave you guys. Hold on a second, I have to missing something. All right, so who's gonna kick off the show? Matt, why don't you kick off the show? I'm sure Bang Box is in a banger trade right now, is it?
No, it's not. We closed out last night, and unfortunately, that's the case. But it was still a great trade overall. Whoa! Holy smokes! We are at 71,324 as we speak right now. We crested 72 almost to the dollar. What did we get to? We got to 71,947. Holy smokes, guys. What a 24-hour period it's been. Tone and I did a show yesterday, and we were as bullish as it could be. Did you get into a trade, Tone? Did you?
I did. I did. I'll talk about that when it's my turn, and I got in exactly what I promised people I would get in. I needed an hourly close above that area of 68,850. That hourly close came at 2 a.m. Eastern time, and I got in on the following candle, which happened to be a green star candle on the hourly. Perfect entry.
Brilliant, mate. And it's funny, I rewatched our show. I never do this, but I rewatched our show from yesterday because the price was pumping and I was excited. And everything I said yesterday's show was spot on. Everything I've been saying is been spot on. But I did say one thing I did say is last night in the show, do not enter a trade right now. I mean, we're in a very difficult point right now. It's going to be super choppy right here. But the cookie crumbled the right way and we were able to barrel through it. Absolutely fantastic. 71,500. Look at it. Absolutely brilliant. I'm still completely locked and loaded in this $60,000 500 trade, which is now 250% up or something like that. I might just stay in this trade until the cows come home because it's a sizable trade, not as big as I wanted it to be, but it's 15x leverage, so the multipliers are sensational. Until the funding fees start costing me a bunch of money, if Bitcoin continues to rally, I'm in this trade for come hell or high water. That's the daily time frame. I absolutely love it. There's no analysis to print. It's just brilliant. We had this great cross on the EXA, which we mentioned yesterday. The copy curve looks brilliant. We are getting into that oversold territory on the RSI, but that can continue indefinitely. There is going to be a pullback at some point. Maybe as soon as the election results come in, it comes back in. I don't know, whatever. That's all speculation. I don't play speculation. It looks fine as it is right now. Daily, perfectly set up. MRI count is even in a bloody good spot, really. I mean, it's a bloody good spot. It's only a 3 of an MRI count. Daily is fantastic. The monthly, which we're getting to, the end of the month with 2.5 days left. Absolutely brilliant. I think this is going to be the highest monthly close of all time. What more can you ask for? Absolutely brilliant. I think that EXA is going to get across next month, which it did here. I know people hate when I say here, but I don't know how to explain the EXA otherwise. On the 1st of October, if you're listening in the gym, you're going to have to open the chart to understand what that means anyway. So I'm sorry. Back in December 2022. The point is, when the EXA is crossing, we can have a look at it back on the chart right now. It crossed here, which I know people hate when I say it. 26,000, it had its last cross. The cross prior to that was at 15,000. The cross prior to that was at 7,000, and we're about to get across right now on the monthly scale. It's not a buy signal per se, but you want your ducks in a line, and that's a great ducks in a line kind of indicator. Looks fantastic. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Now, unless anyone's got any questions, 4-hour time frame. We have just gone from strength to strength here, guys, like that, without any respite, any pullback, or anything. Let's have a look when the MRI count loads. We got to the MRI top. We just started going again. It's going to get us, what, a third consecutive MRI top? No, we didn't quite get one back here. It got a reset here. But I mean, it's been nothing but upside. I think that full FOMO has started. I put a tweet on X today where I must have seen 200 comments today on X saying, "Oh, bull market's finally here. Bull market's finally here." And so I just put a tweet like to the effect of, like, looking at the monthly time frame right here. People saying the bull market is finally here. Have a look at the monthly time frame. People have been calling me a perma-bull for the better part of 2 years. Guys, seriously, we've been in a bull market from here, I reckon, and that has been nearly 2 years. Look at that thing. We're 340% up in 2 years, and people are talking about now the bull market's finally started because we're breaking new all-time highs or whatever. Come on, guys. Look at this. Look at the chart. It's been nothing but upside except for this consolidated period and here. But look at it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's have a look. Yeah, go ahead, mate. Who we got?
Question for you. Do you ever do any kind of projection as far as just getting an idea of when this bull market cycle might reach exhaustion as far as timing, not price, but timing?
No, I don't. I don't at all. I have no effing idea. No idea whatsoever, brother. I don't know. Everything I do is all based on current price. So, like, if I look at it right now, we're above all the moving averages. We're about to print the highest monthly close of all time. I have zero idea where this is going to end. Zero. But I'm fully 1000% long, and there's nothing to do. I would have to go to like a daily time frame and see a red wave come in, a bearish cross, all these things that have to happen. So I'm going to be lagging with all my analysis. But in my analysis throughout the period of time which I've been doing these shows with Tone, and prior to that I've been in the industry for nearly 7 years right now, has been, yes, I'm not going to get the probably the top 20% of the calls, but I'll be bearish when I'm bearish, and I'll be bullish when I'm bullish, and I'll be cautious when the wave is red. I'll be out, whatever, like that. But like this is right here, looking at the daily time frame where we're above all the moving averages. The wave is green. We're great MRI count. There's no projection. It's just long, without any concern of where it's going to go. I'm just going to come off screen share just to wrap with you, brother. I will have I'll like, if I want to buy a house or something and the price is fantastic, like I bought this house I'm in now when the price was at 70,000. Like, and like the yen was at the lowest point it had been in like 2 decades. I'll be like, that's enough. I'm taking some money. Like I'll do things like that are not based on, and that worked out to be really fantastic, but I didn't know it at the time. I'm just like, that's enough. I'll take profits when I think that's enough. I need the money. That's great. I'm going to buy something else and reinvest it. But I don't know if the price is going higher. Do you have any idea where the price is going?
Well, we do have some projections based on cycle timings and Fibonacci extensions and stuff like that. Like I have had a target of 155K in October. That's and there's actually a lot of analysis that goes into that. It's not just a completely random pulling shit out of my ass.
Right.
That's a Fibonacci extension area. It's taking in consideration the diminishing returns, which we've seen through the years, and kind of getting into when these cycles tend to exhaust. In fact, like I was chatting with a friend this morning, April 2025 to, let's say, November 2025. And actually there's some analysis on the 2-month chart, which we can take a look at, which can give you an idea of how much more upside to expect. Of course, it's all speculative, right? But we can also look at monthly RSI. There are some things that tell us when to get a little bit more cautious in the really far zoomed out. But I agree with you 100%. Like, to me, and I actually replied to your tweet, and I said, hey, this, we have the strong, yes, we are in a bull run, we've been in a bull run, but the strongest part of the bull run isn't going to begin until the price is back above 73K. Let's just say
I didn't realize that was you, mate. Reach out to me. I didn't. I
saw you
give you 2 thumbs up.
But yeah, I was just curious. I was just curious if you had any kind of long-term projection.
No, see, I would have to defer to yourself or to a great friend of the show, great friend in general, Fibonacci for that kind of Fibonacci kind of projections, because there's nothing in alphanumerics, nothing that I do that ever considers that. When I enter a trade, I'm thinking I'm going to be in this trade for 10 years. I'm going to be in this trade forever. I'm never ever closing this trade, but I do. I close them when I have to. But every single trade I enter, it's like I'm never closing this trade until, you know what I mean? So I don't have anything like that, mate.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I have the chart that I've been doing this since the last cycle, before the last cycle even ended, and I've had this box for now over a year, where the next top is going to come between, ironically, April and October of 2025. So that's how it's been for the history of all prior swing highs.
And Tone, I would absolutely, I can't wait for this time this time next year when we can refer to this and be like, how close did we get?
Yeah.
Did we overshoot? Did we undershoot? It's going to be fantastic. There's all good stuff happening. But for me, trying to choose tops is like trying to decipher fucking, what are they called? The Wyckoff patterns, right? Like you can watch like a Wyckoff accumulation for 3 months. But the breakout of like a higher high was the only information you needed in that entire period of the 3 months you've been back testing your nonsense. So that for me, it's all reality, not theoretical. But that's just me, and I'm not saying I'm right. What the hell do I know, right? I'm just some dude in his house. But that's my view, and I've been successful. So let's have a don't. I'm almost done. I might as well just finish off with Bangbox just for 1 second, and then hand it back over. Bangbox put in an absolute sensational. Well, not sensational. In hindsight, it's like I wish I didn't close at all. But it was a great trade overall, and we just continue to stack. The whole purpose of Bangbox is just to accumulate Bitcoin. We can ride the benefit of Bitcoin rising, and anyone who's joined Bangbox since day one is up like 30% more. That means 30% more Bitcoin plus the gains in Bitcoin that they've enjoyed as well. I mean, absolutely brilliant. I just got to do this 1 second. Yeah. So Bangbox put on the trade, as y'all know, and we were instantly in a negative position. It recovered. It got up to here, and we closed the trade out here, which ended up being something's looking wrong, but it ended up being a 19%, 18% profit on the trade. It sucks that we closed the trade out because it continued to rally, but as I say, that's 18, 19% more Bitcoin you have in your pocket having engaged Bitcoin in the first place. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Please take advantage of this fantastic deposit we have on BloFin. Deposit plus volume. You've got these great cashback rewards. All the links in the description below. Go over to the Financial Summit Network and check out this video that my partner Baloo made. It's right here. It's called Trading Bots on BloFin. It's a tutorial that goes for 5 minutes, and you can set up a free trading bot. We've got so many new bots coming, a brand new user interface. It's all happening here. We're going to break as a collective this month $500 million in volume that we've done from one single bot. And by Christmas, we'll have a fleet of bots, 6, 7, 8 bots out. We're going to do billions a month as a collective. We are winning as a team, guys. All right, that's the end of me. I'll hang around for a bit, but I'm going to mute myself. Guys, take it away.
Hey Matt, let me show you something really interesting, just to kind of give you an idea of how I kind of look into the future. So this is an interesting chart, and what it's showing us is right here in December 2017. I have a Fibonacci top, and I've extended it down to the 3K lows, and I look to the right. So when I zoom in here, you can see this 3.618 Fibonacci extension, which is exactly what started to find the tops in 2021 and 2023. It didn't quite make it up to the next level, into the 4 extensions, right? Now, and it has shown us diminishing returns. So I'm staying conservative, and I'm saying, okay, just purely speculative, because we don't know. We're using educated guesses and probabilities, and so I am looking down at the next major Fibonacci level below the 3 as a potential topping area for this next cycle. So here I have the Fibonacci drawn from the 69K top down to these 15K lows. And the 1.618, that is almost a given, okay? That is at 102K. I believe, I'm going to say, I don't like saying probabilities this high, but I'm going to say with the 90% probability, once 70K is trusted support, 101, 102 is baked into the chart. And what's crazy is if you look at historical trends, this 1.618 extension is not a stopping point. It's or even a topping area. Typically, the price pops up closer to the 2, which is around 120, and then comes down and tests the 1.618, and then I would expect to see the last final blow. Being said, here is the current cycle's 2.618 extension, which is sitting, I've got this horizontal drawn right here, and I've got a check mark, and I've got this parabola, which the price is very nicely crawling up. And I've got, based on cycle timing, I have an area of interest at 156,000 in July, August of 2025.
So
right?
that was my question, brother. So these, not only are you utilizing the Fibonacci extensions based off previous cycles, time is very important in this, I'm assuming, as well.
It is.
Right? You're looking at similar with the diminishing returns. Are there diminishing time cycles as well, or are they the same time cycles?
So no, you know what's interesting is the time cycles are this is a complicated yet not really complicated chart that goes through all the cycles. I'll show you really quickly. I've got timed bottoms to bottoms, tops to tops, and we can see here. So let me see. If I go to, let's just look at the last cycle.
It looks as though time's increasing for a diminishing return.
Okay, so let's take a look at after the halving. The green verticals are the halvings. Okay, I'm going to go back to May 2020. After the halving, to the cycle top was 532 days. Can you see that?
Yes, you can.
Right there, right? 532 days. After the halving, we got the cycle top. It was actually a little bit later than there, but let's, right 540 days now. Let's go back to the last halving. From the halving to the cycle top, which was 20K, was 520 bars. And this earlier cycle was it was crazy. This was a double bubble with a run up to 260, a massive drop, and then the final top at 1200. That took place 365 a year after the halving. But if we look at that particular cycle, there was a long consolidation, similar to what we've had right now, to get back in there. So
but that's pre the consolidation happened pre-halving. We've had the consolidation post-halving.
Correct. Yes, correct. And then now here's another interesting timing thing. So from the halving to the cycle bottom in 2012 was 768 days. From the halving to the cycle bottom in 2018, 3K lows was 883 days, a little bit more extended, but within a parameter. From the halving to the 15.5K low was 925 days. So that's interesting that we are seeing it take a longer amount of time to dig into the bear markets, right? But I'm not seeing. So look, from the halving to the top in the last two cycles, 518, 544. So what I did here, this is part of where I get my timing. It is speculative, but I kind of took a mean average between the two and estimated around 510 days.
Change the color of that line so it doesn't represent a halving to yellow or something.
Yeah.
And that'll be, it looks really, really interesting from there. Yeah, that's the one. That's the estimated cycle top.
Cycle top. Here is the Fibonacci extension, right? And now here's another interesting chart that does show us very clearly the idea of the diminishing returns. So this is something that, this is not a coded chart. It's something that I did by hand. I wish I had a developer. I just used Best Fit, and I initially did it looking at weekly and 3-day. But we can see here. Let me put it on the 4-day chart because it's a little bit easier to see. So basically, all these rainbow colors are multiples of the black. The black bottom is the 200 simple moving average on the time frame, right? So all that I did is I looked back in history. I did this before this top. I did this during the period of the bear market when I was bored in 2018 and 2019. But let's go back and look. This crazy top in 2013 to $1,200 reached all the way up to this highest metric. I don't remember what the multiple is, but it's crazy. It's like 13x or something like that. Then the next top at 20K stepped down to the yellow, right? So that's telling us the diminishing return getting squashed down to the next multiple. So when the price, and Tony and I have talked about this many times, when I was looking at the orange level for the next top. And if you look, when the red got breached, the price was, the next level up was around 70 to 85,000. And man, I was,
yeah,
I was
short.
I was convinced that the price was going to at least 75K, maybe 85K. But
well, we're going to 149 next time, so don't set your shorts at 150.
Well, okay, now here's something interesting. So if I was looking at the orange as the next step down, then this cycle would be looking to the red, because you can see that in 2021, this red multiple did get breached. So the price popped somewhere between the two. Well, here, look at where my red is. It's right at my 150K projection, and that will be climbing significantly.
Yep.
As the two, you can see this huge uptick in the 200.
Did you say that will decline? It won't decline from now.
It will be climbing.
Climb. Yeah, sorry, climb. Yes, absolutely. Yes. That's right.
This is an area. Now, when I go to the weekly chart, I keep the same multiples. We can see that the 20K top right at this extreme extension. And once again, I was looking at the yellow, at the current time was sitting right around $80,000. I mean, everything was telling us 80K, 85K was possible, right?
Yep.
But it got rejected right here. And interesting that the second top, and this is where your eyes play tricks on you, because this second top was higher in price than this top, but it looks like it actually was lower because of where this is. So now we can project, we can estimate that, okay, if this top peaked at the orange and we're still going to see diminishing returns, then maybe the red is where to be looking, which once again is sitting right in that 150K range. So
well, maybe the green is in play there as well, which I'm totally fine with.
I think for this particular cycle, if we even want to stay remotely conservative, looking at the red level, somewhere between there is reasonable. And so, from an investor standpoint, not a trading standpoint, but from an investor standpoint, and Tony and I have talked about this a little bit, you can scale out, you can dollar cost average sell, once the price starts getting, let's say, just ticking above this green at 115K, and you don't have to sell big lots. You could just sell 2%, 1%, 2%.
You know what's so funny, brother? The fact that we're looking at this and we're salivating, the problem in the industry is right now in the crypto industry is people will look at what we're looking at and say, you're only talking about a 2x return, 100% return. Fuck that. I'm going to go with some shit coin where I could possibly get 1,000x return because they're talking about fuck all money. Like, oh, I'm gonna put $400 in here. I don't want to get 800. 800 is nothing, right? But the industry has shifted. We're talking about Bitcoin, where there's people who want to put $1 billion in and double it. We're not talking about fucking losers putting $300 in and looking for returns. Guys like you and I and Tone and whatever, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but guys who have serious fucking money, who the concept of being able to double their money over a period of 6 months is insane. So please keep that in the back of your mind that if you've got fuck all money and you're looking to take your 500 to $1 million, Bitcoin's not going to do it for you. But I don't know. If you know what the shitcoin is going to do it, let me know.
The other thing is even outside of just doubling your money, it gives us an opportunity to protect it. To just simply protect it, right? From the inflation that we're seeing happen around the world. And this is just stuff that I've been talking to my friends about for years and years. And I will say this, one thing that is interesting about this particular cycle is there's a handful of friends that I have who I know have put a serious amount of money into Bitcoin. They were not interested in the prior cycles because, I have always felt that approaching 100K is going to get the attention of the billions, right? The hundreds of millions and the billions that want to be protected and saved and grown 15, 25, 100%. But yeah, your point is great. And good luck finding that handful of altcoins that is going to do your 1,000x.
Yeah, please comment in below in all of our comments which coin's going to do it, because our comment section is just full of fucking bots doing that. But and the funny thing is as well, I would love someone as smart as you, mate. I'm sorry I've taken over this show. This is the last thing I'll say before I bid you adieu. I would love to see someone like yourself do an analysis on. I bought Bitcoin for the first time back in 2018. I've been into Bitcoin for about a year prior to that, but I didn't buy anything because I was watching Tony. He said it was going to $1,000, so I didn't buy shit. But I bought for the first time at 3,100. Absolutely brilliant. Around that zone, a lot of money. If the price of Bitcoin today was at 3,100, 3,500, I'm still 40% up. Still 40% up on my purchase because of the variant in the USD price to the AUD price. with inflation, with everything else. If the price was at $3,000 today, I still made 40%. Crazy.
Well, and check this out. This is something else that I look at as well. I look at the bottoms, right? I don't give a shit about the top. So I do, of course, we're going to sell where we want to take some profit and maybe pay some things off. But from this bear market bottom in 2015 to the 3K bear market bottom was a 1,200% increase, right? And then taking the bear market of 3,000, even down to this drop in 2020 was still protected, but let's go up to this next major bear market of 15K, and we're looking at a 400% increase, connecting bottoms to bottoms, right? So if you are dollar cost averaging into this asset, especially on the downtrends, where you're going to be accumulating more Bitcoin and you really have a long-term investment outlook, this trend is just unbelievable, right? So
this is where we disagree. I think dollar cost averaging is for suckers. But if you just got alphanumerics and you only bought on the weekly green diamonds, but you dollar costed average, save that money every week, and just pull the trigger once every 3 years, you've just made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you're not going to do that, just use your money to put into Bangbox and Blackbox, the bots that accumulate Bitcoin without you ever having to buy it. That's why I built the whole service. It's instead of just dollar cost averaging, try and accumulate more Bitcoin through the services that I provide for free in the links in the description below. Mark, Tone, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's fucking midnight here. I got to get up early. Love doing
Bitcoin is about to break 72K.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look before I go. It's midnight here. I gotta run.
If you want to go to a 10-minute chart or something, Mark, I know we don't normally do those small time frames, but we can watch it break in real time. We're pushing new highs now.
Okay, really quick, Matt, before you go, this chart and the 2-month chart are my mega bull charts, and this is one of the reasons I specifically said $73,200 or $300, because what we are seeing on the 2-week chart right now is one of the absolute tightest Bollinger.
It's the biggest pinch I've ever seen. Yep.
In history. Okay.
Yep. Biggest pinch.
I've got another metric that can show us exactly how tight that is. I'll just go to it really quick.
That's going to explode.
It's going to absolutely explode. So here's the BB. This is called a BBW3 on the bottom. Yep. Right here is showing us the times in history on the bottom that the bands have been this tight with a certain look back period. Right, it's approaching 0% with the moving average at 3%. Here is the last signal we got from that, which was October 9th. Right out of this consolidation period, which exploded the price from $26,000 to $50K and then up to $75K. And prior to that was another band squeeze, not even as tight as this, which took the price basically from around 23K up to 30K. But
how exciting that this pinch is coming, that these bands are being met, these oscillators at all-time highs.
Look what happens in history when the price starts closing above the top band on this period. Going back to 2013, it took it from $20 to $244. Starting in 2015, it took it from $370 to $750, and then again $1,500 up to $3K. Like, you're literally looking at a price doubling. Here it is. Here's the signal. And look, this was a weak signal. Like, this only took the price from 8,000 to 14,000 right here in 2019. But here, the last 2 runs, let's just look back at recent history. This is why I'm so bullish right now. In recent history, top close in October. Again, here we are in October. 15.5K, taking the price straight to 40K without any kind of significant correction, and then going up to 65K, and then one more time back again in October of 2023 with a band squeeze. with a legit band squeeze from 35K up to 50K and then ultimately up to 75. So what I'm looking for currently is Sunday. Please give me 73.3K on Sunday and give me a close outside of this Bollinger Band. Oh man. And the same thing, the same analysis holds true for the 2-month chart, which is giving us a very, very similar price range of 73.3. So
2 days. It's coming at the same time too. The end of the week.
Right. And again, you can see here what happens when you get a close back in 2016, 1K to 20K, in 2020, 28K to 70, 69K. Right. So it's a massive signal. It is a massive, massive, massive signal. And
all right.
let's
All
think
right.
about
Mark, I'm rock hard, absolutely rock hard, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna go downstairs, have a beer, and continue enjoying the show as a participant. Not as a participant, as a viewer. I'm a big fan of your work, Tone. This has been brilliant, mate. This has been so much fun for me. Everybody celebrate, sing when you're winning. I'm out. I'm out. Midnight. I'm out. I'm off the clock. Good night, everybody.
later.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Here's 10-minute chart. Higher lows, higher highs still, right? We're in a slight uptrend. And trying to push, it keeps selling off in this 71.8, 71.9 range. But if we look at the daily time frame, and if I put my bands back on, a close above the top band, which is currently at 71.4. So we are on, what is the candle count on the MRI, Tone?
Which time frame?
Here it is, 3. Green 3. Check this out. Check this out. Green 3, pushing through MRI accelerator with a close above the top band, which would require a close above 71.4K. We're at 71.9 right now. That is going to expand the price to the upside for at least one more higher high just from the Bollinger Band analysis, but MRI suggests another 5 or 6 more days. What are you seeing on that, Tom?
I'm seeing a lot more upside, man. This is why I went full long yesterday. This is what I've basically been waiting for. We are potentially going to close at a brand new all-time weekly high, not just an all-time monthly high. We also should close at a new weekly high. And everything is so bullish right now, it's scary. The closest thing to showing you a top is the weekly chart 3 weeks from now. That is literally the closest thing showing you a top. I mean, the daily is going to also hit an MRI top, but like next week, right around the election. So my outlook is easy, right? It looks like we're going to be rising right into the election because Trump is massively ahead in the polls. Doesn't mean he's going to win. It just means he's massively ahead in the polls, and that is going to push Bitcoin price higher. And we should get a pullback off of the election with the second consecutive daily MRI top. It probably makes more sense if I pull up my charts, right? As I talk about this. Let me do that. Let me grab my charts. I haven't even done my charts yet. This is gold, by the way. I think gold's going to top this week, at least stop rising so quickly. So I still think if you haven't taken your profit in gold yet, you strongly want to consider that. So we're going to start with the daily time frame here. I'm going to delete a lot of this stuff. I mean, I got the box right. I don't need it anymore. We're not going back into the box. This is what I'm going to alter. So this was my, I thought we can get one more little push down into the election, but Trump is so far ahead in the polls that we're looking at something, man, like this. When's the election? I almost want to get rid of that, right? So I'm just going to take that out. So something like this. where I think a top's coming into the election, and then we get a pullback. The lows, the worst case scenario I see for a pullback is back to the prior swing high, and that's the worst case scenario at this point. And we can count, so this is, so tomorrow is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, the day before the election, we get an MRI top. I think that MRI top is very likely to break all-time high. And then we get a pullback, and then, some consolidation. I'm not going to play around with this much. This looks ridiculous at this point, like price going backwards and stuff. But I'm just going to delete this. I'm getting annoyed by it. And so I am looking for upside. I got in right here yesterday, right below 79. I'll show you on a lower level time frame. And now I'm looking for a daily MRI top, small pullback, 1 to 4 candle pullback, and then more upside to, now we move to the weekly chart, where I am looking for an MRI top. Which week? So next week is 7, and then 8, and here we go. So the week of November 25th, 18th, something like that. So that's what I'm looking for, a weekly top, somewhere above 75,000. Could be as high as 80. I don't know. We'll see how high we get. And again, a 1 to 4 candle pullback to as low as 71, 72K, followed by the bull market. Because the monthly chart, and now we're going up the monthly scale, this is my weekly scenario, but the monthly scale hasn't even given us a green star candle yet. That's going to come on Monday or Friday, okay? So the monthly is just getting started. So now we're dealing with a monthly, and the monthly is going to keep going higher, in my view, because, again, MRI, so we can count it on the monthly scale. I'm going to use, you know what, I don't need another arrow here. I'm going to use this arrow that I have drawn. And if this is candle number 1, and then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I think this is good enough, something like that, right? And my target is somewhere around the MRI on the time. So we're going into April of next year on a monthly scale, and my lowest target is 102,000, which is the Fibonacci extension. Okay, so that is my outlook. And once we get into April of next year, that's when we start to enter the early stages of a potential top. Obviously, I'd want that to be as high as possible, but we'll see. We're too far away from that. So that's basically my Bitcoin projection going forward.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good conservative projection, I think, with timing and price, giving consideration.
Now, as for when I got in yesterday, I got in exactly when I promised I would get in. I was watching the markets, and we had the hourly MRI top as we were doing yesterday's show. I said the moment we close above this blue line, which sits at $68,850, and the reason that blue line is there is because that was the secondary highest hourly close we had back on October 18th. And whenever we break past a secondary high close, I always expect the high close to be broken. So I don't need to wait for the break of the swing high. I just need to wait for the break of the secondary swing high, whether the secondary swing high came before or after the swing high. And the moment a candle closed on the hourly scale above that, the next candle was my entry. I didn't even wait for the green star to show up. The green star only shows up after you break the prior candle's swing high, which I didn't want to wait for. That's above 69. I wanted to get in while it was still 68 and change. So I got in. I got in with leverage, not a lot of leverage. I just want to make up for all the losses I had back here, for all the whipsaw and all the mistakes I made going back and forth. And yes, I did lower the amount of Bitcoin in my portfolio because of this horrible downtrending consolidation that was whipsawing me left and right, and it was very frustrating. And now I'm going to make up for that with a little bit of leverage. Normally, I wouldn't do this. Tyler Jenks is probably screaming at me from the grave for doing this, but I'm doing it. And this is probably my last leverage trade. And hopefully this goes to straight past 80,000. That makes up for all those little losses. And from that point on, I may just alter how I allocate. I've been trying to do this for the last year, only using Consensio, and I think I could have done better if I used MRI instead of Consensio. So I'm actually gonna revisit all of this starting in January.
Yeah, I like using 2 or 3 different things, which you think might get confusing, but not when they're giving you very similar information. Then you're getting some confirmation and confluence. I've shown that investor mode Hikanashi thing, and that has actually been very accurate. It's pretty close with Consensio, but like when you get MRI and Consensio and that telling you the same information, then you have a lot more confidence in what's going on.
Right. Oh, also one more thing. If people are confused why it says 125% long, I'm estimating the 125 because I don't want to do the math. What this means is a part of my retirement portfolio is holding CME futures, which are leveraged. They're leveraged 5-to-1, but I like interactive brokers, but they make you hold bigger margin than the CME mandates. So therefore, they're not as leverage. They're not as 5x leverage. It's closer to like 2.5 to 3x leverage based on how much margin I gotta have in reserve. And because it's not my entire position, if I put my entire position into CME futures, I can comfortably put 250% here. But I have about 15 to 20% of my position in CME leverage, which altogether puts me at about 125, 130% leverage, right? So it's not crazy leverage, but it's better than, but I am more than 100% invested.
Well,
and once options arrive on the IBIT ETF, that's a game changer for me.
What is the timing of that? Is that?
I don't know. Some say as early as January, but no one knows.
Yeah. Let me show the screen again real quick, Tone. I want to do.
Okay. Oh, one more thing before I give it off to you. We had 6,000 Bitcoins purchased by the Bitcoin ETFs, and once again, the majority went into BlackRock. I mean, BlackRock is just absolutely crushing it. This can't keep happening, right? There's not enough Bitcoin to go around. If every day this week the ETFs buy more than 5,000 Bitcoin, I can see the price being above 80,000 by the end of this week. There's just like, where are they getting this Bitcoin? It doesn't exist, and no one is selling, right? I mean, even the biggest scam in the space, not the biggest scam in the space, there's plenty, but the scam in the space with the most Bitcoin is Block One, which acquired 164,000 Bitcoin by selling you the EOS scam. Even they are not selling. So who is selling? Right? You can look at Bitcoin treasuries. Who is selling? I mean, look at this. These are companies holding Bitcoin, okay? Only 360,000 altogether. I mean, MicroStrategy is the leader here. None of these companies are going to sell Bitcoin. Tesla is probably kicking themselves for selling 30,000 Bitcoin a year and a half ago, right? That was stupid. And the mining companies aren't selling the Bitcoin. Why would they? Bitcoin is pumping to the upside. They can just use that Bitcoin to borrow money if they want to expand their mining operations. And you have the Bitcoin ETFs are purchasing Bitcoin like crazy. These are all the ETFs around the world. This number is way off. I mean, you can see my own stats. You can see that BlackRock has 103,000, 403,000, and I haven't even added this 4,000 yet. So it's already 408,000. And Rodolfo MVK over at Bitcoin Treasury still has him at 380, so he's like 28,000 short, along with all the rest of them. So this number is way more than 1 million Bitcoin. This DeFi nonsense doesn't look like that's going to go away. If anything, the wrapped Bitcoin will get locked there forever because people are just stupid. And not even Block One is selling, right? So who's going to be selling all this Bitcoin? That's 2 million locked in, at least 1 million lost. Mining is barely mining that much Bitcoin in a month, right? So you can see the monthly stats. In 1 month, 13,500 Bitcoin gets mined, and literally half of that was purchased in 1 day. So 5 or 6 days in a row of 5,000+ purchased Bitcoin, we're at 80,000.
That's literally the daily
Yeah.
daily supply, right?
Yeah.
It's more than the daily supply.
Yeah. And let's quickly look at the stock market here. The stock market opens, crashes, starts to rise. I wouldn't touch the stock market today. It can go anywhere. I wouldn't touch the stock market this week with the election. All right, Mark, that's all I had to say. I guess we can. I just want to see what the expectation is for the interest rate. We're not even talking about the FOMC meeting next week as well. That's going to happen on the 7th, right? That's coming up. And wow, look at that. There is now a 99% chance of a rate drop.
Rate drop. There you go.
Rate drop.
Yeah.
There was a 0.5% chance for a 50 basis point cut.
Yeah.
You give me, 100 to 1 odds, and I'm betting thousands of dollars that the rate cut's not going to happen.
Right. Right.
I'll bet $1,000 at 100. This is what it means, right? This is 100 to 1 odds. 100 to 1. Technically, it's infinity to 1, right? But let's just say it's 100 to 1. Right? If anybody wants to do a bet, 100 to 1, I'll lock $1,000, and if the rate doesn't get cut, someone owes me 100 grand. That's literally what this says.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. I mean,
absolutely crazy.
It's like, it makes sense. The rate should not get cut. And so what do you think the real probability outside of that of a rate cut? Now, is that specifically for November?
Yeah.
What do you think the probability of a rate cut would be, Tony?
I mean, realistically, it sounds like it should be maybe 55, 60%. But in my opinion, it should be 0. I
agree. It should be 0%.
But in my opinion, it should be 0. And Powell has, again, this is where I grossly disagreed with Greg Foss for years. And I thought that Powell was I thought that Powell was doing a good job. Personally, I felt that for the last 2 years, Powell's been doing a good job. He fucked up by raising the rate too late and too fast, but they all do that, right? Every single Fed chair raises the rate late and raises it too fast. But in the last 12 months, since he realized he fucked up and blew up 3 banks, I thought he's been running a responsible Fed. And except this makes no sense. Well, okay. People asking for MicroStrategy. Sorry. So there's nothing to say on MicroStrategy. They are coming up on a daily MRI top tomorrow. So MRI strategy might have, and again, I'm going to quote Greg Foss, MicroStrategy might have got ahead of its skis for a minute here. And just like over here back in October 14th, when Bitcoin was still rising, MicroStrategy pulled back. It might have got ahead of its skis again, and MicroStrategy can pull back while Bitcoin is rising. but MicroStrategy is a massive leverage bet on Bitcoin. And as long as Bitcoin is rising, MicroStrategy is going to keep rising faster. With earnings coming, again, I never hold stocks through earnings unless they are in earning specific strategies. So I would be out of MicroStrategy right now because of a little uncertainty and because it's probably getting ahead of its skis and it's getting into a daily MRI buy. Sorry, MRI top, not MRI buy. And on a weekly scale, it matches Bitcoin. So on a weekly scale, it's just like Bitcoin. On a daily scale, it gets ahead and then it like drops a bit and then it gets ahead again. All right, I'm done with my screen share. Off to you, Mark.
All right. Is my let me see. Oh, there it goes. Is my screen back on?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is mega zoomed out, and I am on the index chart going back further in history.
Excellent.
What we are looking at right now is the current 2-month candle. I talked with Matt about the Bollinger Band PTA, but we're kind of perfect storm. We're getting
Hey, Mark, I just want to say this chart, going back all the way to 2010, looking at the MRI and everything between the MRI tops, there are no MRI buys because Bitcoin is just too bullish of an asset. Looking at all the MRI tops, looking at all the stars.
Yeah.
The only disappointment in this entire chart is if only the 2017 bull run lasted 2 more months. That's the only thing that's missing is an MRI top there. And we've already discussed. Oh, no, not that one. That's the only thing. If only, that got kicked off one candle earlier, or like, that's the only thing that's missing is an MRI, is a second consecutive MRI top right there.
Yeah, and the price probably could have doubled again from 20K if that happened with as much momentum. Yeah. But what I wanted to show specifically are the MRI green stars. Okay, so this month there's still 2 days left. This is a little bit premature, but let's just assume and hope that we're not going to see
it's not premature. I mean, there's no way in 2 days it's gonna make that star delete. I mean, it has to drop like $4,000.
Well, does it in order to get the star to delete before the close?
Oh, wait! It just has to go lower than the prior candle swing high. You're right. We are close.
70K. So we're a little, but there's a lot of momentum into the monthly close. But
oh man, I want that green star. They've never failed ever.
Never. That was the point I was going to make, and I kind of hate saying this because as soon as you say always never, it smacks you down. But this is only the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th green star in history going back almost 25 years. And every single green star, I mean, it's just easy to see, right? It's just
right.
This literally took it from a penny to $30.
Right. I mean, every single green star kicked off a year-long bull market.
Yeah, so like here, this green star right here in September 2020 was probably the shortest run before a massive significant correction, but it still saw 1, 2, 3. It saw 6 months of upside continuous.
Right, 6 months of upside, and it tops on an MRI top. Technically, the highest price did come later that year.
Yeah. But that did entail a 50% correction on the way.
It did. Yeah, it did have the biggest mid-run correction of all the other green star kickoffs.
Now, after this long period of consolidation, I would not anticipate a 50% correction in the next few candles. Maybe.
So Mark, actually, technically, it was not the biggest correction. Technically, if you want to get technical, if you go back to 2013, if you want to get technical, that green star, that 250 top, go to that big candle, that top created a 75% correction in a week. No, you don't see it. It was within the green candle.
Oh,
within the same green candle as that top,
as this top.
the April, correct. That's the March and April candle. And within that candle, if you go to the weekly scale, for example, within that candle, there was a 75% crash. I know it. I remember it well.
That's true. That's true. So,
but that's technically.
So, you know, what I'm going to do when we get this green star, look at my rockets that,
yeah.
And those were not green star rockets. I did not put those in with the MRI. I'm just showing the price launching off of the curve, right? So
it's time to put another rocket ship right now. Let's do it. Unless you want to wait 2 days. You can wait 2 days.
I'm gonna pencil it in. I'm gonna pencil it in for now. But what I would love to see is this projection of what I've shown on the Microsoft chart of having flipped this curve now with this massive. I mean, in essence, this was just a long sideways consolidation with a little bit of a pop, but down back to the bottom of this curve, and now this green star has the potential. I hate to say the word super cycle, but I think it's possible. I think that this cycle has the potential to push above these 100 to 150K price ranges that Tone and I have talked about conservatively. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We gotta print this green star. I just and then now, Tone, here's where the mega bullish signal comes into play, is combining like right here it's only happened once. It was very, very close in 2020, but May 2017 got a green star candle printed with the price closing above the top band. That was at a price of $2,400. There was a nice correction into the next 2-month period. However, basically that took the price from 2000. It took a 10x, almost. Took it to 20K. This was very, very close. This green star in September, it's still, and we still might see this, but I would anticipate the following 2-month candle to look something like this candle here in November. Being said, and look back here, this green star candle got rejected at the top band just as it was forming. So if, going back to what I was saying with Matt, if in 2 days we happen to see the price kicking above 73,400 and this closing as a green star, that's as bullish of a signal that I would ever expect or hope to see in any asset, but particularly Bitcoin.
Right. You could also look at the minimum rise before a correction after every candle broke my breakout line, right? So the worst one would have been right at the 2013 top.
Here.
Nope. Yeah, that's the worst one.
Right.
This might be better on a monthly chart than a 2-month chart. There's just not enough of those lines. But that's the worst. That's been the worst performer, and that's probably still like almost 100%.
That above the MRI acceleration was still, yes, you're right. It was 130%.
Yeah. And
that was, as you say, that was a weak performance. So there are some Fibonacci's. I dropped this in your financial sanity channel. There are some Fibonacci extensions and areas of interest where this MR accelerator is currently at 89,000. I think that there will be a little bit of turbulence poking above and below, but once the price is firmly established above here. Now let me ask you this: is this MRI accelerator relevant? Sitting
No, absolutely not.
no longer relevant. Okay, so real quick, let me talk about some election year statistics. Okay, I guess I can go to the election cycle chart that I have. So one thing I did say on our last stream was that October 27th, according to my data and research, was the latest that we ever saw a low in Bitcoin this close to the election. And so lo and behold, this low at 65.5 took place on October 25th. So that still stands true. October 27th is the latest. And even though there were some analysis saying this 65K could get taken out into the election, I was trusting my election cycle analysis over other analysis. So we can see.
Hey, Mark, we broke 72.
72.
Yep.
No, so close. So Tone, in election years, we have seen Novembers in election years. Okay. 2012 November was plus 13%. December was plus 10%. Those are Novembers and Decembers of the election year. Okay, positive.
For what? For what? For stock market or Bitcoin?
For Bitcoin. No, November 2016 was a small, but it was positive. It was 5%. December was 30%. In 2020, November was 42%. December was 46%. So I took an average. Okay. The average November in an election year is 30%. The average December in an election year is 28%. Okay. So we can just do a mental masturbation exercise and do an average projection. Let's just say the price closes close to here. November, I'm going to tack on 30%. Got to reduce my target. Okay, so here's 30%. Average price is going to take the price to 93K. I'm sorry. The average election year November is going to take the price to 93K, and then I'm going to tack on another average December of 28K onto that, which is 28%, which gets us looking at a price of 120K before the end of the year. Tell me your probability on that.
100K by end of year?
20K. What I've done right here is I've tacked on the average November and the average December, which is 30% and 28%.
No, I'm gonna even take the under on 100K by end of year. Like, I'm gonna be conservative here. Like, I don't think we're breaking 100K by end of year. I mean, maybe 92, 94. I just, even if Trump wins, I don't see it. I don't see us going up that much. I think it's very unlikely. It'd be great if we did, but I don't see it, man. I still think there's gonna be a 2 to 3 week pullback once we hit the weekly MRI top, right?
Okay, so let's do. Give me your probability of this average November December projection taking price to 120K by the end of the year.
15%.
Okay. I'm gonna say it's a little higher, especially if I see the price above 73,000 at the end of this week. I'm gonna put
Wow, I've never seen you this bullish, Mark.
I'm ready to go. It's time to go. It's go time.
I've never seen you this bullish. You're always on the show throwing caution flags left and right. Never seen you this bullish. The first time you're more bullish than I am.
You know, as I was talking to my friend Ken about this yesterday, he's like, you know what? You're always like, wait a minute, we got to wait for this. We got to wait for this. But he said, as soon as your signals fire, the rocket ships are going. And
yeah, so you're just waiting for the monthly close. Like as long as we don't crash over the next 2 days, we're good.
Yeah, I would like to see the price above 73K though. I mean, it seems silly to be concerned about that, but it's a really important signal. But I will put it at 25%. Now let's do this. Let's do this mental masturbation projection. The worst performing Novembers and Decembers in election years was 2012. Okay, that was a 10% November. I'm sorry, a 13% November and a 10% December. So let's do that. Let's tack on 13% November, and I'll add another 10% to that. And that gets us into 90K. So now, what is your probability of price being at 90K at the end of December?
Oh, I'm gonna raise that up. Probably, man, that's a hard one. Above 90K at the end of December?
At 90K. Now, you got to realize I am using the worst case scenario projections based on past history.
I'm gonna be more optimistic than I should. I'm gonna say 55% chance we're above 90K in December.
Ooh, I like that. I was thinking 55% myself. And you know what? I'm gonna go with my post-election analysis. And I'm gonna bump that up. I'm gonna bump it up to greater than 60% chance. There is a stipulation. I still want to see the price above that prior all-time high of 74K. But this is just going on statistics. We do not have very many examples to choose from, but I did find the worst performing November and December in an election year.
I know. I just think that your sample size is so small that I'm not even considering that, right? Like if we're doing stock market performance in election years, at least you have 100 years of history, right? So you have, 30 elections or something, if my math, well, probably less than that, probably about 20 elections. But in Bitcoin, I just don't think you have enough history, right? Like it's the reason why I think the main reason why Bitcoin took off in 2013 had nothing to do with the election, is because people were kind of scared whether the first halving would actually work, right? It was an unproven code thing, right? Like this is when I first started paying attention to Bitcoin news, and I remember people were concerned, like, hey, like what happens if the code doesn't have the mining reward on the first block after the code? Like the whole system would just die, right? So many people were hesitant on buying Bitcoin going into the first halving, and that's what pumped the price of Bitcoin up, I believe. Plus the Cyprus news, plus the Senate hearings back in November. So I don't. And there's just not enough of a sample size for me to gauge what November, December will do of a halving of a presidential year. Now, if we're talking all Bitcoin November, Decembers, now you have a decent sample set.
I do have that. I gotta find it. I do have. Okay, here's another interesting group of statistics. Election year Q4s. Okay, and again, not a lot of examples. In 2012, it was only 10%. Q4 in 2012 was only 10%. However, Q1 of the next year was 600%. That was insane.
Yeah.
2016 Q4 is 58%. 2020 Q4 was 168%. Right? So again, 50% Q4 is not unreasonable in an election year. And what I have pulled up right now, Tom, is what Bitcoin did after each election. Okay. Timed literally from the day of the election, well, to the beginning of the month of the election. I do have the days. If I put it on daily, it would be different. But in essence, 2012 saw 11,000% to the top after the election. 2016 saw 3,000% to the top. And 2020 saw 450%. So now I'm going to throw another projection your way, another question. What do you think the probability of Bitcoin giving us greater than 450% after this election is?
Greater than 450. So that's 5x.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna go 45%.
Okay, that's basically a $400,000 Bitcoin, which is
I'm gonna go 45%. I'm gonna take the under on it, right? I'm gonna say there is a less than 50% chance we top above 400K.
interesting. So let me ask you this. Can you speculate with this idea of diminishing returns? We have 11,000 reduced to 3,000 reduced to 450. Okay. Can you speculate a potential reduction to fall in line that would give us a more reasonable outlook after this election?
Yeah, half that. Just cut that in half.
So 225%.
Sure.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
That's 230K.
That's reasonable. I would actually, I would probably take the over on that. So, like 55% chance we're gonna break that. Maybe 60% chance we're gonna break that this cycle.
I think I would agree with you on that. I would say that expecting half of the move from the last cycle, which was already stunted as it was, is not unreasonable. We do have to think about the market cap. To get to 250K is about 5 trillion-ish. So it's adding another 3.7 trillion to the market cap. So let's take a look real quick at the S&P prior to the elections and see what we got going on here.
No, guys, Bitcoin has to go a lot higher to break gold's market cap. Gold's market cap is 18 trillion. Bitcoin's market cap is what, 2.5 at most? Trillion?
1.7, I think.
1.7 for just Bitcoin, right? The whole yeah. So I mean, Bitcoin would have to go up almost 20x, right? Because remember, if Bitcoin is rising that quickly, so is gold. So I mean, Bitcoin would have to go to probably $1 million to beat gold's market cap, right?
The current market cap is 1.4 trillion. To get to 18 trillion, the price would be, well, the price would be close to $1 million because 20 trillion market cap. Right. Yeah, it would be about 800,000 probably.
Yeah, something like that. But remember, gold's probably going to be way higher as well if this is happening.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think Bitcoin needs to break 1 million to break gold's market cap.
Okay, so here is the S&P with the presidents. We can go back a few years. We looked at this several months ago, but let's go back. Let's go back to Reagan for now. Reagan won. Reagan won, topped at the election and saw a decline, but overall his first term was positive. Reagan's second term was a bull market and finished significantly higher than his first term. Bush Sr. saw the stock market rise after getting elected a significant amount before correction and still ending very bullish into the election of Clinton, which saw a slow melt up. Halfway through his term, it basically corrected down to where he was elected, and then we saw the .com run up. And Clinton's second term saw the extension of the .com run up, which led to the stock market topping right prior to Bush's election. And unfortunately, Bush inherited a bubble and saw a significant downturn down to this mid-range, which we can zoom out and take a look at. And G.W. Bush never saw he barely saw a new all-time high. Basically, Bush's presidency matched the prior all-time high and then dumped again. Obama got the residual of the 2008 crash, found the lows in 2009, and had two positive terms. Trump had a positive first term election and ended at significant all-time highs. Biden had a very strong run in the beginning of his election and is now finishing his term at new all-time highs. So here we are coming into this next election. Tell me what you think, Tone.
Well, I think the market's gonna skyrocket to the upside, regardless of who wins. It doesn't matter.
And check this out. I think we might see the stock market break out of this trend line
that's what I've been saying.
100 years.
That's what I've been saying.
It was created, the top of the trend line was created by the 1929 top. And it has been tagged a few other times. It was tagged at the 2000.com bubble, and it was tagged close to tagged in 2022, and we're leaning right on it right now. So
yeah, I can actually see the market going to your next line, which is has nothing to do with price, but like if you draw an arrow from into the next black line, I can see it.
That black line is just simply just a marker,
not a ray. Yeah, no, just an arrow.
Yeah,
they're in the wrong place.
There it is.
Yeah, I can see that. That can happen. That can actually. I know people don't believe this can happen, but it can actually happen.
100%. I was talking to some
friends.
It's
for the same reason Bitcoin can go to $1 million, because people will fire sell all treasury bonds and rush into the stock market.
So it is possible in this election to have this.
I mean, this is more likely over the next two elections than in one election cycle. That's the more realistic way of doing it. And realistically, it's not going to go that high. Realistically, it will only go to maybe 25, 30,000. But yes.
I mean, I think that doubling.
Oh, doubling's easy. I think we're gonna more than that. I think we're probably gonna triple.
58. So yeah, doubling into the next election is not unreasonable.
And no, doubling into the next election is definitely not unreasonable. And tripling or quadrupling over the next two elections is also not unreasonable.
So what Tone is saying, and I am tending to agree with him, is that this 100-year channel is going to get broken to the upside.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for a decade too. It's not like I'm just saying it now.
I've heard you say that, and I do believe that this propels the S&P into a final blow-off stage. So check this out, Tone. I brought this up I brought this up really, really, really early on. I have seen the S&P. It's in a hyperwave. It's in 100-year hyperwave. But this is going back. This is looking at what is called a Livermore accumulation cylinder with a widening mouth. And this shows an example of 6-7 touches before launching. And there are several examples of these. Basically, this is a hyperwave, is what this is. Tyler Jenks found another way to kind of project what would happen in an accumulation cylinder, but the S&P broke out. Where'd it go? I just lost it. Oh, there it is. The S&P broke out of this cylinder in 2020, which was a financial reset. It was a complete global financial reset. It came down during this bear market to test the top of it, and now we have seen the price launching into ludicrous mode. So this isn't going to end well, but when is it going to end? How much gas is left in this tank, Tony?
It's infinite, right? Because again, I think that there's multiple horrible combinations happening for the US that will pump the stock market. One of them is continued inflation. Second one is continued debts, loss of confidence in US government bonds, and no safe place to put your money, right? The continued destruction of mom and pop stores in favor of big corporate companies, plus the AI revolution, plus, I don't know if anyone caught this Twitter space we did about 6 months ago with Chris Chiavacco, who talked about the greatest bull run based on demographics of Americans and the age that they're in. And based on the demographics, I know everyone is talking about the demographics and how bad they are with the baby boomers dying out and how bad that is for the markets. He completely destroys that argument. And he says, based on demographics and the age of the population in the United States, what's going to happen over the next 10 to 20 years has, over the last 100 years, this has only happened like twice, and they led to the greatest bull markets in history. And we're reaching that particular demographic. He's got awesome posts on this. Maybe when I grab screen share, I'll put them up for you guys. They're a must read. And I didn't even factor that in when I was looking at this.
So Tone, look, I'm on the monthly chart right now, and I'm taking a look at the monthly RSI. We're seeing a trend line get broken to the upside that goes back to January 2018. That was printing lower highs as the market was printing higher highs. So this supports your argument and my argument that the stock market can very, very easily double in price, because the RSI isn't even really in a bullish oversold. It's just kind of getting into the mid part of the bullish area. I would not even consider, going back through history, I really wouldn't even consider any kind of a top until the RSI reaches at least a minimum of 80, at least. And then I would look for some bearish divergence. I would still look for one more higher high in price and a lower high in RSI. But with the RSI sitting currently at 73 and not even getting remotely concerning until approaching more like 80, the stock market can easily double in that short amount of space for the RSI. So here's another speculative projection. After breaking this trend line that's going back 6 years, what do you think the chances of the RSI popping above 70, pushing back closer in this 87 or 90 is? The last two here, look, this is a prime example. I'm going to go back to 1996. 1996, the RSI topped at 87, but look what the price did. The price, the price. I think this is what we should expect. The price went from 678 creating divergences all along the way with lower highs on their RSI, 678 to 1500. There's your doubling right there, right? So let me ask you this: what do you think the probability is, or the chances are that this RSI on the S&P is going to poke above 80 and start to look more like this, which still would not be a top in the stock market?
So I think that there's like an 80-90% chance that RSI is going to break 80, but it's not going to break the all-time high.
It's not going to break the all-time high
I don't think so.
of
It can. I mean, it can, but I'm not going to take that bet. But are we going to break that 80 line? Yeah, we are.
I agree. So look, here is a bit of a trend line to possibly watch. This goes back to the 1950s. And so Tone is saying it's going to break 80, but it's not going to break the all-time high. This tells us to watch 86 for either a top or an initial top that is going to get us some divergences as the stock market climbs higher. So this is bullish to me. The monthly outlook says don't be bearish into 2025. Can you conjecture any bearish scenario that is going to prove us wrong?
No.
From a technical standpoint,
No.
There it is. Tone base. October 29th. No. It's going higher. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Really quick, let's just take a look at let me go back here. Let's take a look. Let me get on like the weekly chart at a few mining stocks, because one thing that I researched that shocked me actually was during this phase of the bull market in the last cycle, the mining stocks destroyed Bitcoin significantly. And let's see what we're looking at. I got to find my my mining stocks tickers. IREN is one. Currently at $10.80. Green Star candle was printed a few candles ago. Okay, here come my drawings. So what I've been looking at with IREN, which is Iris Energy, is for the price to crawl back up this trend line and eventually try to push above 14 again. I see open sky territory on this stock above 1760. Now, let's put a price range on here. So that means that this would need another 62% move to kind of get above this horizontal resistance. After that, you're basically looking into the all-time high, which would be 150% move back to the all-time high, and then we're in open sky territory. So this is one to watch. It's higher lows, higher highs. It's in an uptrend on weekly. Now needs to print a higher high above $16 to keep this uptrend going. Here's Bitfarm. So all of these mining stocks have just kind of been doing not much of anything. However, they've had significant rises off the lows from 2022. I'm seeing this in I call it a compression triangle. People call it symmetrical triangle. This is telling me just roughly to pay attention at the end of the year. And if this breaks to the upside, Bitfarm's we'll see a green star candle the next week. Correct? How does this look to you, Tone? You're muted. You're muted.
Look, it looks bullish, but honestly, like mining is so not profitable that I don't think any of these stocks are gonna break all-time highs.
Just real quick, just to show what I'm talking about.
I would not touch mining stocks. I'd rather hold MicroStrategy.
This, so here is March. I just kind of highlighted this from when Bitcoin found the lows, which was March and April. The mining stocks still trended lower, creating some divergence. But this Bitfarms popped to a 3,000% move. So Tone, you are saying you don't expect the mining stocks to perform this cycle as strong as they did the last cycle?
No.
Okay, that's fair. Riot, we'll take a look at Riot. This is looking productive. Same thing. Let's take a look. Riot off of the 2020 lows saw, wow, a massive move. Yeah, the mining stocks were just so strong. So here is, I can see a trend line, kind of like oh, I've already got it. I've already got it drawn. So now, yeah. So I've had an eyeball. I've had an eyeball in this range of around $12 for a potential breakout in Riot. I would look for like a bump and run, a bump up, a test back down, and then a move up. But Riot is on a green 6 after a green star candle. Nice follow through. Let's take a look at WGMI and we'll get an idea of where the mining stocks are. This is the Valkyrie Bitcoin Miners ETF, which also does have, doesn't it have Tesla in it, Tone? Valkyrie Bitcoin Miner ETF.
I don't see why it would, but I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure it's public information. I can Google it.
It does, and it might even have MicroStrategy in there as well. It has some other Bitcoin exposure other than just the mining stocks, which is why it is actually kind of performing quite well. So I have this in this structure that looks similar to Bitfarms that we looked at, where open sky territory above 2850, let's say, and it's starting to push on that. It's starting to push on that right now. The green star.
So this is kind of strange. The biggest two holdings in that ETF are Iris Energy and Core Scientific.
Core Scientific. What is that?
Which failed, and it's being resurrected.
Let me ask you this, Tom. So
no, there's no MicroStrategy and there's no Tesla.
Okay, no MicroStrategy. I was wrong on that. So opinions on the Valkyrie Bitcoin Miners ETF about to put in the highest close since since the IPO on monthly. Bullish?
Hold on. Maybe. I have to look up what the hell Iris Energy is.
Iris is a mining. It's a very, very profitable.
They actually look good.
Good.
Core Scientific. I think the main reason why the ETF looks really, really good is because of Core Scientific, which is a company that failed and it went to zero, and now it's at $14 a share. And I'm not fully understanding why. And that's their second biggest holding, but their first and second biggest holdings are identical. It's their second biggest holding by 0.02%, right? So it's irrelevant, right? 14.53, 13.51. So it's their biggest holding. And I think Core Scientific is what's been driving this bus over the last, 8-9 months, and I think that's gonna stop. So, look, if the Valkyrie ETF continues to pick miners well, right? Remember, it's a balancing act, right? They could add exposure to certain miners that are performing well, remove exposure from miners that are not going to perform well, right? So, for example, if they think Core Scientific is going to top right now, and they dump Core Scientific and put that allocation into a miner that performs well, this ETF can do very well because they're picking and choosing which miners are good. It's their job. But if they do their job poorly, the ETF's not going to perform very well. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing research on these miners. And I'm going to say this ETF is going to outperform any single miner under the assumption that Valkyrie knows what they're doing.
So that we're looking at the 2-month again. The monthly look good. The 2-month is going to be a green star candle above $25 in the next candle. It's putting in the second highest close, unless we really, it's actually the highest close unless we want to count this initial close up here at around 26.28. So I would be bullish on that. I would be bullish on this for 2025.
Yeah, no, I'm bullish on. Hey, Mark, it's while you're playing around with miners, which I think it's time to end this conversation. Bitcoin is about to break 73K, right? So we should probably get back to the important stuff.
Okay. Really quick, someone did ask to take a look at dominance, and it's now this is my dominance chart minus the stable coins. And don't need the bands. This is my long-term projection. I've had this red horizontal here at 64.6% as a high close. This was kind of like a swing high close going all the way back to 2021. My analysis on dominance is that if we start seeing weeks close above this range, it is going to push into these highs, perhaps up to 75%. So this is a green, we're one candle after the green star candle. Dominance is strong. The altcoins are struggling. Ethereum is struggling. Solana it's not struggling. It's consolidating versus Bitcoin, which I'm seeing as one of the strongest larger cap alts. So, Tone, you bullish, you bearish on Bitcoin dominance?
Oh, I'm very, very bullish. I mean, look, the Bitcoin dominance, just like Bitcoin dominance is almost like the DXY, right? Like the dollar index. The dollar index is 65% the euro. So as goes the euro versus the dollar, so goes the dominance. Bitcoin dominance is like 65% versus Ethereum. As goes Ethereum, so goes Bitcoin dominance. And Ethereum looks like a total basket case, which is going to zero. So I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to get into the 80% range.
All right, I'm going to give you some props right now because a few weeks ago, I asked you a question. So the dominance was pushing into this level of horizontal resistance, and we can see it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts, right, over the course of a few months to push above this. I asked you specifically, I said, Tone, if and when this level gets broken, is it going to happen with the Bitcoin price popping strong or dropping strong? And you said popping strong.
Yep.
And you were correct. And here it is right here, green star candle pushing through that level of resistance as the price of Bitcoin itself in dollar terms is popping and it's rising as we're looking at it. So let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin and go to the 4-hour chart and see what the hell is going on, because it's at 72.5. We're just a short distance away from the all-time high. Actually, someone in the chat said 2% under all-time high. That sounds about right. Wow. That is a monster weekly candle off of that reversal candle.
Yep.
Okay. Here's 4 hour. Let's see what MRI is telling us. See if we have any exhaustion counts as well. So potentially, this was so Tone. This last candle was one of those big 4 candles that you don't like to see. That makes it less likely to get to a 9. But what do you think what do you think the chances are of running this to a second MRI top?
Very high.
Very high. We're
Very high.
current
Okay,
candle.
so let's be a little more specific, right? So, because of such a large 4 candle, right? If the current 5 candle pulls back, the probability of getting to an MRI top is huge. If the 5 candle is similar to the 4 candle, the probability of getting to an MRI top has just crashed. Because in order to get to an MRI top, you got to be above the 5th candle. And based on how the 4th candle happened, you want the 5th candle to pull back if you want an MRI top to have a high probability of happening.
So the last candle closed above the top band. My TA says look for a higher high within the next 1 to 3, 4 candles. So this does suggest we did get a higher high already within this band, because this band is expanding so quickly. So that analysis kind of did hold true. What I would look for on the 4 hour chart is a red candle close inside of the band, and then taking out the low of that to either target this short term at 72K or a larger dip at 71K, and that is going to be rising. But I don't see anything. No, as long as the yellow 21 is still rising above the mid Bollinger band, there's no loss of momentum on the time frame. Let's see what the hourly looks like. Okay, so this is bullish. When I see this, when I see the yellow pulling below the band, and it is on an MRI. Why do we have that arrow, Tone?
Say again?
Why do we have this arrow here?
When did we have it? I'm not following the question.
Is the red arrow because of the extension C?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I just want the viewers to understand the indicator. So we can see here an extension A, right? It's real small, an extension B, and extension C. We just currently on the hourly chart is an A extension and a C extension. So the MRI is just giving us a warning. Hey, there's a lot of momentum behind this. Pay attention. So maybe if this hourly candle closes as a shooting star, but it's a green 4, so still seeing no sign. But what I wanted to show was this. When I see, I'm sorry. When I see the yellow 21 get front run like this and not even touched as it's trending below the mid band, and then it closed back above the orange, that's mega bullish. That's a lot of demand, even on this low hourly time frame. So I'm not seeing anything in the immediate future. This is starting to give a little bit of a warning on the 2 hour chart, but it's still in a bullish setup. And what is our MRI count on the 2 hour chart? We are on an MRI top. Doesn't look like it's slowing down yet. So do you think that we will see a new all-time high this week?
At the moment, that's how I feel. Yeah. I mean, I just don't see this stopping.
That's
We're literally printing new highs now, right? Like the tone phase rule is as follows. When a market is printing a new high, whether it's a swing high or an all-time high, my target is infinity.
I love it. Now, what we are seeing, let me go back to my Ichimoku cloud chart, which we took a look at on the daily.
We're
And
already at 72.6, by the way. I think we're gonna break 73 while we're still on the stream. Though our stream has been going on for 2 hours, so we may want to, wrap this up soon.
I think we need to let's just stick on for a few more minutes just to see if there's some crazy $1,000 pop, because the lower time frames show nothing. But let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this green shaded. One of the things I mentioned on one of our recent streams, or maybe the last two, was if in fact this structure, which goes back to October, November 2023, with a green cloud twist and the bullish TK cross, which took place back in late October, and we are going to see a similar price action, that is going to leave Bitcoin in price chase mode. So far, that analysis is 100% accurate, 100%. You had a couple of chances briefly to buy sub 66K. And you can see back here in 2023, the price just melted up. And the blue Tenkan was the dip. So the blue Tenkan is now going to start rising sharply. It's currently at 65.7, which is about, so it's now risen above the prior swing lows. So the chances of taking out 65 or 65.5K right now, I would say, are very, very, very low. And as the blue Tenkan rises, that is an area to look at the dip. So Tone, let me show you one quick thing.
Right. So I just want to say real quick that if the daily candle closed right here, right now, it will be the second highest daily close ever.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And we are approaching the highest daily close ever. We're only $600 away.
So one of the things I was looking at, I brought this up on the last stream. The 3-day chart gave us a fresh, I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to zoom way in so we can see it. A fresh bullish cross right around mid-October of the TK with the cloud twisted green. Now the cloud has been green for a long time, and I'm going to go back to the prior cycle to give a projection of what we could expect. Here, right back here in late October is when the cloud was green and we finally got the bullish cross. That signal basically took the price from around 33K, it doubled the price. Okay, so once again, here is some more TA to suggest, or at least offer the possibility that the price of Bitcoin is going to double based on this three-day chart. But if I go back to the last cycle, here, right in this, also in this September, October, November, is when we got the cloud twisted green. Finally, the TK was already bullish, but right around $11,000 in early October is when we got a similar bullish signal. I have projected that, yes, there was this 50% drop, but we got the secondary cross. So what we're seeing right now is something similar. Here was the bullish cross in October 2023. We had a nice long consolidation drop. It was only 35%, but this was a correction of time more so than price. And now we've got the secondary bullish TK cross. What we are looking for is hopefully an more extended run than what we got here. But one of the things I did just for the hell of it was project, okay, let's put a 500% move on from that original bullish signal and see where that takes the price. So 520% takes the price to 185K. if we get the same type of move out of this initial bullish signal given on the 3-day cloud, which we've talked about this 185K price range a fair amount. What do you think about that price range, Tone?
I mean, 185 before the cycle is over is very reasonable.
It would be another 150% from here. And the price is just continuing to rise. It's 72.5. Before we go, let me just get on. Let's see where the pi cycle MAs are sitting. Okay, so here I did another projection, and this is all completely speculative, but I'm going to continue to adjust this to give us an idea of what would happen to the price if it made the same move as it popped above the long-term moving average, which that took place at $21,000 in December 2020. And that basically tripled the price. Plus, so currently we are now seeing many closes held above the short term, and the short term is finally curved back to the upside, looking very similar to September, October, November of 2020, or September, October, November of 2023. And if the price gets pushed just to the long-term moving average, that is already at 115,000. These cycles, these bullish cycles, have always broken this green moving average to the upside. So, Tone, this TA is suggesting to us that, and this kind of agrees with my Fibonacci 1.618 analysis, is that 102K is going to see a pop and a dip and a rise higher. So let's take a look at this and maybe we can wrap it up. First of all, do you think that the price is going to trend into this long-term pi cycle moving average, which currently is sitting at 115.8 and climbing?
Yeah, I will say I'll take the pi cycle flip very seriously this time. I took it less seriously last time. I'll take it very seriously, but man, those lines are so far apart. It's amazing. I mean, they probably won't cross until Bitcoin quarter mil.
Right. So, you know, like one of the things we could do is just take a look, like right here when things were getting bullish, they were 75%, almost 80% away from each other, distance-wise. Let's see how far apart they are right now. They look to be significantly, no, a little bit more. They're about 85%. So it's kind of a similar setup as well, coming out of October 2020, and here, they were about 80% apart as well. So this is well within the parameters of getting the price back up to that long-term moving average. And then what we want to look for at this point is closes outside of it, because that, if you look, so I've got this highlighted. When the price starts closing above that long-term moving average is when you start to see massive acceleration to the upside. In 2020, I'm sorry, in 2017 run, that happened right around May 2017, and took the price from 1,700 to 20K. In the 2020 cycle, that happened at around $19,000, and it took it up 225%. So this is suggesting to look for expansion above this moving average will be around 120K, unless we see something similar to this cycle in 2019 where the price gets up to it but can't start closing above it and gets knocked back down. But this pi cycle indicator, along with the 2-month analysis and the 2-week analysis, is suggesting that 115K could be another acceleration level above 73,000. That's what my long-term analysis is. All right, I'm good with that, Tone. Are there any questions that need to be answered?
Not really, but I do want to take a look at your 55 versus 55 moving average.
Okay, I got that.
Remember how I was saying that we're about to pop any minute. I know you were set on that cross, but I was a lot more skeptical.
That was on the weekly, right here.
Yeah. I
But
think they're gonna cross back over in a few weeks.
so now what we look for, Tone, and you were right. I was right. If you look right here, my TA, I always have a condition with the moving averages. I never go blindly on cross. My condition was very, very, very clear. Show me some closes below this yellow 21, which at the time you can see was under heavy fire for these 2 weeks at around the $61,000 range. If I saw 2 or 3 closes below there, this $56,000, it's an 80% probability, easily, closer to 100% probability. But we had that moving average hold, and now we're seeing the price blast above. So now what Tone is saying, is, let's see what happens. We got to go back to. We actually have to go back now. Look what happened. Look what happened, Tone, in 2021. This is what we don't want to see. The moving averages crossed, but the yellow 21 held the close, which allowed the price to trend to a higher high. But look what happened as soon as we started seeing closes below the yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4 solid verified resistance, and now that moving average is not going to hold, and that propelled us into the bear market. So what we do not want to see is any significant closes below $63,000 at this point. Anything closing below $63,000 is going to jeopardize $56,000 and maybe go into the bear market. However, if we see something, we didn't have it. This would actually be the only bull market. Okay, this is a good example here. What Tone is saying is we want to see them cross back to the upside, which if you look right here in 2020, after the COVID drop, we finally got that cross. And then once again, though, the signal is yellow 21 has to hold the closes. And then that absolutely launched the price from $10,000, I mean, easily doubling it up to 20K. So Tone, what you're wanting to see, and me too, is for the price to continue to melt up. And then when and if we see this cross back above, that is going to put me into extreme mega bull mode. Okay. But as we can see, the main thing, I was holding this cross, I was putting much more weight on the 3-week signal than the weekly. And that cross here, and once again, the magic yellow 21 EMA is what held the 50K lows. And now we've got the price with 12 days left in this candle trending back above the short term 3 EMA. This is mega bullish right here. And the 3-week closed on a closing high on the last candle. The last candle was the highest close at 68,900 in BTC history. This next candle is looking to perhaps close above the prior all-time high in 12 days. The way it's looking, I say that happens. What do you think, Tone? Current 3-week candle, 12 days from now, closing above the prior all-time high.
Oh yeah, I'll take the over on that.
Yeah, especially with this MA setup in place.
Well, it's a 3-week candle closing when? In 2 weeks?
Well,
I don't know, man. I think there's going to be a pullback with the election.
okay. I am going to say that
If it was closing this Friday or this Sunday, I would take the over. But closing next Sunday, I don't know. I may take the under.
What about this? What about ticking above the all-time high within the parameters of this current candle?
Oh yeah.
So you think
I give it like a 90% chance.
I'm with you. I agree. I actually think that this current candle is going to close above the prior all-time high.
What is the all-time high swing? Let me see. What's the all-time high print here? 73,750.
Yeah, 73.8-ish. Is that on the index?
Yeah, 73,750. We're $1,000 away.
Okay, and real quick, I got to go back to this because this is what I've been looking at for months, and I've showed a million times on our stream. Back to the daily chart, and then we can wrap it up. Because now I was seeing all kinds of bullish calls on Twitter. I was not disagreeing with them. I just felt like they were premature. But now I have drawn this broadening wedge / bull flag trend line as conservative as I possibly can, skipping some touches here. But what I have connected only the wicks, and I still can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 touches. I can still get 10 touches of this, but we can see so clearly now that this is a legit breakout above. I cannot draw this trend line any higher than this. And here is the 2021 prior all-time high sitting at 69,800. These two trend lines were converging together right at $69,000. That was key. Now what we would like to see is an eventual test of this support, which gold did the same thing. And I believe I've got another theory that tells me that gold is leading Bitcoin to $100,000. And that is based on this breakout. Very similar structural breakout. And $2,100 was the breakout area with approximately 6 touches of the resistance. The chart will generate in a minute. My computer's getting hot. And we can see what happened with gold. It just absolutely took off. That resistance went all the way back to wow, 2021. It took gold actually 4 years. It took gold almost 4 years to break out of this accumulation consolidation. So now I've drawn a Fibonacci on the top to the lows, and the gold has trended to the 2.414 extension. That's where it's currently rising, about to push into the 2.618. I think gold's going to 2,800 and probably significantly higher. But I anticipate Bitcoin to look similar to gold from this point on, based on breaking out of that $69,000 resistance. I've said for several weeks, gold Gold structure is very similar to Bitcoin. It's leading into $100,000, and we finally got the signals that we're looking for. That's all I got, Tone. It's bullish.
I mean, that's it. We kept the show going as much as we could to try and watch Bitcoin cross 73,000. We made a high at 72,710, and I don't see why it won't break 73,000 today. Like before, I don't know if it'll close the day at 73,000, but I fully expect it to breach 73,000 intraday today. I'm not expecting a pullback. Every chart is bullish. 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly. I mean, the MRI doesn't line up as bullish as it currently is. I'll just do one quick take one more time on this. And by the way, guys, I dropped this article in the video description. I'll do, not the description, sorry, the live chat. I'll do it one more time. This is an excellent write-up by Chris Chiavacco on demographics and why this is about to be the biggest bull run in stock market history, and it's just getting started, all based on demographics. There's just an extra reason to be bullish the stock market. I dropped that in there. We also talked about Bitcoin dominance. So here is Bitcoin dominance. I pulled up here. This is what I mean. Ethereum is 13% of Bitcoin dominance. Let's remove USDT. Let's remove USDC. Right, USDT is second biggest. Let's drop that out of the equation. USDC is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth biggest. Let's drop that out of the equation, right? So that means 6% needs to be divided amongst these, but Ethereum dominates, right? So out of the 6%, Ethereum would get like 4% more towards dominance, or at least half of the dominance would go to Ethereum, and versus the other coins, and that puts Ethereum at over 15% dominance, and then that puts BNB probably at about 4%. So you can see that Ethereum drives the bus. And the Ethereum chart, this is actually Doge's chart, which is topping, but that's a story for another day. The Ethereum chart looks like pure hell right now. It was a second consecutive MRI buy, which did jack bogus, and it's now on a brand new weekly red star candle. So your Ethereum positions are in the toilet and are literally spinning around, about to get drained. And Solana is still doing okay. BNB is breaking down as well. So BNB is about to be its own disaster. The MRI is still loading. It had its red star candle earlier. It's now breaking below swing lows. So you have your top 2 out of 3 completely going down. And all you shitcoiners have to cling to is Solana and maybe Doge. I kind of tried to order these in order of market cap, which puts Monero all the way down, puts Litecoin all the way down. Litecoin is already, at the bottom of that toilet. It's not looking good, and expect dominance to break 80 in the near future, probably sooner than people think it will. Again, if you take out the stable coins. And just on the charts, one final look. Here's your 1 hour chart. What's up?
Someone asked, let me see, Daniel asked, what's the target on that giant cup and handle from 2021? And we talked about this. Let me declutter this a little bit. Gold is in the same.
I'm the one on screen share, Mark, so decluttering won't fix anything. So look, my target is simple. I don't use percentages in this case. The drop is $50,000. So my target is 50,000.
I think that if you're actually going by the actual measured move, the target is $300,000. Tagging on
50 G. 50 G, it puts us at that 125 range, Mark, you talked about.
Yeah.
That's the cup and handle target.
Yes. But if you actually took a trend line from the top into the bottom of that cup and tacked it onto this breakout level, the measured move would be $300,000.
So once again, let's go to MRI is bullish on the 1 hour chart. On a 4, MRI is bullish on the 4 hour chart. It's on a 5. It's just taking its sweet time to load. MRI is bullish on the daily chart. It's only on a 3. MRI is still bullish on the weekly chart. It's still on a 6. Yes, it's extension C, but it's still a 6. So several more weeks to go. And the monthly looks like the best of them all on a 1 with a green star candle coming starting this Friday. And Mark showed you the 2-month chart, which looked even better, kicking off. Where is the 2-month chart? The 2-month chart looks ridiculous. We got a green star candle. Every time we've ever had a green star candle, we're talking 100% moves or more. There has never been a green star candle that did not result in 100% move. And usually it's multiple hundreds of percent. So I don't see how this particular green star candle will not kick off 100% move. Every one of them has done it. This is number 7. All prior 6 have kicked off multiple 100% moves.
Especially with 7 to 8 months of consolidation to tag on prior.
Before the candle, correct.
Before the candle. That just so much accumulation and consolidation. It just built up so much momentum behind it.
Someone else asked, what is the inflation adjusted all-time high? I always had it on my charts, on my daily chart, 78,500. That's the inflation adjusted all-time high. It's rounded, of course. And I think we're gonna break that this year.
Interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that on our streams. I've seen you show it, but how do you get that? How do you calculate inflation adjusted?
Oh, I just took the price of the all-time high and threw it in the inflation adjusted calculator on the internet.
Ah, interesting. I like it.
Yeah, so it's so here the all-time high was 73, right? So here, inflation adjusted calculator. It's just the government statistics, you know. And you just stick in the price of the all-time high was 70. Why is it not typing? Oh, it's over there. Oh, that's weird. 73,000. What was the all-time high? 73,650 or something like that. Let's say 73,700. And when did that happen? That was in April of this year or March of this year, right? So you go March of this year, 24, and maybe we have the October. No, so September, and there it is, 74. Oh, wait. Oh, that might not be the all-time high. It's we had a lot of inflation, right? So it might have been November 21 at, what was that high? 68,000? 68,000, like 900 or something. There it is. 78,159.
78.1.
I rounded up to 78.5, whatever.
Yeah. Got you.
Right. There it is. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. And we will see you all on the next one. And Bitcoin is still holding 72.5. I think we're going to break 73 today. We're probably going to close above it too. We're just going to solidify the all-time closes across everything this week. And there'll be no doubt in anyone's mind. Of course, there'll be bears, but you're not going to find them on this channel. All right, guys. Talk to you all on the next one.
Later.
Please like, subscribe. Mark, you're still on screen share. Interesting. Okay. There we go. Please like and subscribe, share, and see you all tomorrow for a short show with Matt McGregor. Bye, guys.